Welcome back to Awaken Life. I'm Harmish, a nervous system practitioner and mentor. Today I'm going to be talking about why I have been tracking my nervous system. If you had watched my last video, you'll know that I've gone back to the corporate world. This has been after a break of about 2.5 years. So for 2.5 years, I got to work on my coaching business. I got to write. I got to be creative. I got to do the things that I wanted to do when I wanted to do them. During that 2.5 years, I did a lot of healing of my own nervous system, and I started to understand how my nervous system really played into every single part of my life. For someone who had started to become much more relaxed, have a more balanced type of lifestyle, why would I go back to the corporate world? Well, that will be for another video, but that is the decision that I made last year, and I found a role back in the type of job that I was doing before I left the corporate world. I started this job in January, but I had already been thinking about it before the end of 2024. I knew that I would have to be commuting to an office at least twice a week. I knew that the hours were going to be fairly long, and I knew that I would have to start looking at a different type of routine for myself, because spontaneity had been a big thing of my life for the last 2.5 years. Anything that I wanted to do, I could just get up and do it. I didn't really have to plan things as such in the past 2.5 years. Yes, there were things that were planned out, but on the whole, in my day to day life, I could pretty much just get up and do what I wanted to do and be very, very flexible in moving things around my diary, and also with the daily chores and personal admin that we all have to do. Things like cleaning my flat, doing the grocery shopping, doing the washing, all of that kind of thing. I was really, really able to be flexible during the last 2.5 years. One of the other things that I wanted to be really intentional about and to really create some space around were the things that I was passionate about, the things that I was doing outside of my work, things like writing, my Spanish lessons, learning more about my nervous system. These are all things that were really important to me, and I didn't want to give them up just because I was starting a new job. Even though I took a bit of a pause from my coaching business and really promoting my services, I still wanted to be able to work on my business. And I didn't want the fact of a new job to get in the way of doing this. And I know that this is something that many of us really find difficult to do. I've had clients in the past who've wanted to do things other than their 9 to 5 jobs, but they haven't been able to make the space or time because of their job. And I didn't want to fall into the same trap. In order to really help myself out here, I knew that my nervous system was going to play a key part of how I was going to continue showing up in my life, continue doing the things that I enjoyed doing, and not become a victim of burnout. Those 2.5 years have been really, really important in me learning how to heal my nervous system, understand how my nervous system operates, and also to work with my nervous system. Last year was such a challenging year for me, and I know now that those challenges that I was really facing were my opportunity to really put this nervous system work into practice. It's not easy for us to get away from the stresses in our lives. And for me, for the last 2.5 years, I've been really, really fortunate that I've had a lot of control really over my environment, over the people that I work with, over the people that I see. I knew that going back to the corporate world, I wasn't going to be as fortunate. I would have to talk to people that maybe I clashed with. I would have to be working for someone else. I would have to be working to someone else's rules. I would have to be working to somebody else's timelines and agendas. I could no longer take a day off because I felt like it, just because I wanted to go to the seaside for the day. That just wasn't a possibility for me anymore. What I realised about my own nervous system healing journey was how fortunate I had been to be able to heal in a way where a lot of my stressors or previous stressors had been taken out of the equation. And now I was thinking of bringing them back in. What I decided to do for myself was to do a little nervous system experiment, if you will. I decided that I would start to track my nervous system, that I would start to see how my nervous system was responding to being put into these sometimes challenging environments with sometimes challenging people, and seeing how that really played into me showing up in my life and showing up to the other things in my life that I really wanted to. I want to take you through the four things that I decided to track. The first one was what state my nervous system was in. Was I in a sympathetic state where I was getting ready to deal with dangers within my environment or from the people around me? Was I in a parasympathetic state where I was feeling quite hopeless or defeated in what was going on around me? Or was I actually in a ventral vagal state where I was open and curious and I was quite social with the people around me and the things that I was doing? So, state was the first thing. The second thing I decided to track was my emotions. What emotions was I feeling or had been feeling up until the time I was tracking my nervous system? Depending on the situation that we are in, we can feel so many emotions, but these all really boil down to six or seven core emotions. So when I was tracking my nervous system and thinking about my emotion, I really wanted to kind of deep dive into what the underlying emotions were that I was feeling. So even if I was feeling overwhelmed, what was the actual underlying emotion from that? The third thing that I decided to track were the physical sensations in my body. Just like with emotions, depending on the situation that we're in, our body may feel different in different scenarios and around different people. What I really wanted to understand was how my body changed in different scenarios and around different people. What was my nervous system doing? Now, I've been able to do that quite readily because I have a body scan as part of my daily nervous system practice. If you want to know more about how to use a body scan to work with your nervous system, then please reach out to me. The last thing I wanted to track was resourcing. And resourcing is really about what I needed in order to help my nervous system become more regulated, and not regulated in a way to bypass what I'm feeling, but what do I need in order to make sure that my nervous system is really running at its optimal level? That could be an early night, that could be better food choices, that could be making sure I get out in the fresh air. Knowing how certain things resource me enables me to decide what I actually need for different scenarios and different environments to make sure that I am resourced and that my nervous system is able to run as smoothly as possible. So, those are the four things that I decided to track: state, emotions, physical sensation, and resourcing. I've been doing this experiment since the beginning of January, and in these short weeks, I've learned so much about my nervous system and how it is responding to different situations, different people, and different environments. I've really been able to see and feel, more importantly, how my body is reacting when I am going into a fight or flight mode, when I feel that I'm actually within my own internal safety, when I'm starting to hit my window of tolerance. This information is really helping me to make better choices in my life so that I can show up to the other things in my life really as, and I'm not going to say the best version of myself, I'm going to say the most resourced version of myself. Because there are things that, as I said at the top of this video, that I want to keep on doing. I don't want my job to take over my life like it has done in the past. And I know that being able to track my nervous system and really understand how it is working will help me to do that going forward. If you are interested to learn a bit more about how to track your nervous system and how it can really benefit you in your life, please feel free to reach out to me. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of your day wherever you are in the world. I'll see you in my next video.